Hello, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Nicole Jones, and I am the teacher leader in residence for the Turnaround Office at the Connecticut State Department of Education. Today's webinar, titled Leveraging Student Voice to Spark Change, is the first of a series created to highlight the different ways that schools across Connecticut have increased opportunities for students to exercise their voice, empowered for students to share their perspectives, and build the capacity for student-centered learning. There are many schools and districts leveraging student voice in our state, and our first presentation will be from Capital Prep Harbor in Bridgeport. Capital Prep Harbor will share a description of the essential practices that support their school's efforts to foster student voice, explain how such practices have impacted their improvement efforts, and discuss their lessons learned. Thank you so much again for joining us today, and I am going to turn it over to Capital Prep Harbor.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Winston Borders. I'm the academic dean here at Capital Prep Harbor School in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And this is our presentation or a conversation around leveraging student voice to change the world. So today, next slide, Dr. Carter. Today, we're really excited to be with you guys. I'm gonna have some scholars, and I really want to stop talking so I can put them in front of the camera and let them really tell you about the things that they've been working on and how we're using our student voice or their student voice to change the world. And so I do want to begin with the quote from Barack Obama. And the quote goes, "Your voice can change the world." And as you will see in this presentation, we truly do embody that here at Capital Prep through the work that we do every single day with our social justice focus. So before we hop in to talking about student voice, we want to first share a little overview of Capital Prep, starting with our mission and our vision. So our mission here at Capital Prep Preparatory Schools, a network designed to change the world through social justice and effective supports, is to ensure that all historically disadvantaged students graduate with the college and career readiness skills needed to become responsible and engaged citizens for social justice. Capital Prep will do so by offering a rigorous college preparatory curriculum, project-based learning, and a multi-pronged, effective and social justice activities. And our vision goes along with our mission. We know that attaining a college degree is a trajectory-changing milestone. Less than half of the children who grow up in the bottom 20% of the income distribution do not attain a college degree, and they will ultimately not, escape poverty as adults. However, 9 out of 10 children who attain a college degree will move up the economic ladder and out of poverty. Our school will transform students into scholars by being relentlessly focused on our mission every minute of the day. Capital Prep will ensure that 100% of our scholars are accepted to and prepared for a college by the end of their tenure with us. And so, as you guys have seen from our mission and vision, we are a college preparatory social justice focused school. And I can proudly say that this year, once again, all 34 of our seniors have already been accepted into a 4-year college or university. And I really can't wait until, April 29th to celebrate them as they make their college decisions. We're going to go crazy and, just really celebrate them in the next coming weeks or so. So, going on, I want to briefly talk about our learner expectations. So our learner expectations, as you can see, they make up an acronym that spells out CPREP, but it's deeper and more than just an acronym. These letters stand for collaborator, the P is for problem solver, the R is for researcher, the E is for empathetic citizen, and the P is for pillar of knowledge. We push all of our scholars and all our community members here at Capital Prep to embody these learner expectations, not only in the things that they do academically or our pursuits academically, but everywhere in life, from the playing fields to in the classroom to even at home in their personal lives and even beyond that when they leave us. So our learner expectations are a huge part of what we do. And they are the driving force behind what scholars, how they should act or how they should conduct themselves on the day-to-day basis within our school community. Now that I've given you somewhat of an overview of Capital Prep Harbor School, I'm really excited now to introduce some of our scholars and our illuminators, which we call our teachers here at Capital Prep, and to talk about this concept around student voice and our pursuit for social justice. So at this time, I'm going to introduce one of our 11th grade students, Aiden Henry, to talk about student voice.
All right, good afternoon. I wanted to explain a concept called student voice. My name is Aiden Henry. I'm in 11th grade, and student voice is student input or leadership in instruction, school structures, or education policies that can promote meaningful school-wide change. Student voice can impact education systems, practice, and/or policy by empowering students as change agents, often working in partnership with adult educators. So Capital Prep provides students with student voice, and student voice gives students opportunities to promote meaningful change among communities and society, working with other educators to give insight on issues going on in the world currently. Why we need student voice. Student voice produces collaborative learning environments. It often decreases behavior and classroom management issues. It's inquiry-based learning. It increases the depth and breadth of knowledge. And student voice allows students to gain knowledge that allows them to help themselves and their peers, engage in school improvement and take ownership in school successes, help sustain school improvement efforts, and it helps students apply what they learn in the classroom to their own lives and to their communities. So student voice empowers students to make change and have a say in things. It allows us to change systems for the better. Capital Prep provides student voice and the results are commonly positive. So now I want to pass it on to my advisor and my social justice teacher, Mr. Tran.
Hi, thank you, Aiden, and good evening, everyone. I'm Kai Tran. I am the social justice illuminator of the 12th and 11th grade at CPrep. So let's just take what Aiden said and put them into practice. Every Friday, when we have our school assembly, we would say our pledge, and part of our pledge will be we will change the world because we are Capital Prep. So how can we change the world? That's a big task, and we start them young. At Capital Prep, we start to have social justice in the curriculum starting from the first grade to the 12th grade. So we build them up and we instill in our scholars a sense of justice, of awareness of their environment and the system that they're in. And I think that's beautiful because by the time that the 12th grade, they're ready. So we usually start with a definition of what social justice can mean. And at CPrep, this is how we define it. We say it is the equitable distribution of access to information, to political and economic resources. And at CPrep, scholars identify, analyze, and address the disparities in access to these resources and opportunities. And the reason why we start with this is because first, we get a working definition so that we are on the same page. And secondly, this is how we structure our project. The project is based on what are the needs of the community. What does our community need? If they need resources, the scholar will work to provide them with resources. If they need knowledge, the scholar will work on the knowledge, etc. So this is very clear, and I do encourage my scholar to examine this definition every day when they work in the project. Next slide, please. All right, thank you. So at CPrep, the project itself is the evidence that scholar can fulfill our school mission, which is to educate them and to enable them to be agent of change. It is a graduation requirement every senior needs to fulfill. It is a performance-based task, and scholar will demonstrate a lot of skills, the ability to question, to research, to lead, to act, to present, and to reflect on what they've done. And they do so in 5 steps. First, they start out by identifying the problem in our community. what does our community need. Second, they will create an informed action plan that will address that need. Third, they're going to conduct the activities that they plan out, and hopefully throughout the process, they will give the community what it needs. Then they will organize some sort of awareness raising event to make the project bigger than just a school assignment or a graduation requirement. And those events are usually big so that our community can come together and celebrate their work. And finally, they have to gather data and analyze the data to show how successful the project has been. Next slide, please. So this is how it looks. This is the structure of the project. You have on the left, the research paper that they have to write. They have to do a lot of research. These are all sources. So these are reliable sources that scholars have to research, provide background, to state the statement, and to ask research questions. Then they do a literature review to see what people have done in the past. Then they propose the action plan. They run the action plan, present findings, and write conclusion. The action plan is when the fun stuff begins. As you can see, it has 3 activities: activity to solve the problem, activity to raise awareness, and then some sort of event. And on the screen, I gave a lot of examples, but I would like to highlight a few exciting things that have been happening this year. A lot of scholars have been interested in restorative. So a few scholars came together and do a restorative justice circle in our school. A lot of scholars want to lead workshop. And so we have people wanting to do workshop in the local library to provide resources to the community. We have a lot of school assemblies, and scholars love to bring their project to the whole school to engage other scholars. And last but not least, in May, before they graduate, they will present all that they've done to a panel. And when they pass, that's when the project concludes. But the seniors, they don't do it by themselves. There is a community, there is a support system that will help them every step of the way. So myself as the illuminator and the advisor to a few seniors, I will check in with them, regulate the progress, collaborate with them in certain activities, and I also participate in their project and the final presentation. In terms of the admin support, they also check in with scholars, they collaborate with scholars, they communicate with family, they help us organize events, especially the big events where we need a lot of logistics being taken care of. So the admins come in and help us with these events. And I would also like to emphasize the fact that we also get community members involved. We invite experts in the community to come and mentor our seniors. They help them come up with the action plan. They give them resources. They check in with them. They provide them with experience. And there's a lot of positive interaction between our scholars and the community, because the community also wants to help them. So that's a lot. So let's hear from one of the seniors themselves. I'd like to introduce Kemsley Jelen, class of 2022, to talk about his project.
Thank you, Mr. Tran. Good afternoon. My name is Kemsley Jelen. I'm a senior here at Capital Prep, and my topic is on the lack of knowledge regarding the immigration process. My essential question, or the question I'm aiming to answer at the end of my project, is how can an advocacy group improve the lack of knowledge on the issues that immigrants may face regarding access to resources? Why did I choose this topic? So I'm an immigrant myself, and I understand the struggles of working towards getting resources like green card, permanent residency, and even citizenship. How will my project impact my community? What inspired me is that my family comes from a background experiencing a lack of English learning resources and citizenship applications, and just knowing how to navigate those resources. And I know that we are not alone. So I want to educate others and bring future immigrants together so that they know how to gain access to these resources. 1/3 of my community, Bridgeport, was born in foreign countries. And I see that we as a school are the heart of Bridgeport, which indicates that there's similar population of immigrants at our school. And here at CPrep, my project will spread awareness about how foreign-born Bridgeport immigrants experience a lack of resources due to their immigration status. My goal is to create change, and hopefully students after me are able to use my information as a guide for people that they may know who face these same issues. My action plan is to raise awareness in my school community. I've created slides and presentations to teach them about the different ways to begin gaining access to these resources. And I had them participate in different activities. I know that lessons get boring, so I had a few students help me create poster boards, and there are some word searches, crossword puzzles that they can use to know some of the resources that they can get, the steps to get those, and be able to help people that they know who are facing these issues. I'd like to introduce a fellow peer of mine, Brianna Walker.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brianna Walker. I'm a senior here at Capital Prep, and my social justice project is on the sexual harassment and trafficking of minority women and children. So my essential question is, how can a sexual harassment awareness seminar improve the lack of knowledge on sexual harassment and defense techniques among minority women and teens? I chose this topic because as a young African-American woman, I have heard of instances of sexual harassment towards many of the minority students that surround me. From sly comments to inappropriate actions, I feel a sense of responsibility to educate and potentially protect these young ladies and women who are subjected to these actions. My project will impact my community because once these young ladies and women are educated on this topic and are knowledgeable in the arts of self-defense, I genuinely believe that it will decrease the instances of sexual harassment towards this group of people and protect them from advances of sex trafficking, as well as build confidence to utilize self-defense techniques. In hopes of spreading awareness amongst scholars and illuminators, I conducted surveys and discussions to identify their knowledge gap as well as close it. Along with the discussions, there was a self-defense class to further educate these illuminators and students on ways to combat this issue, as well as building confidence to use these demonstrated self-defense techniques. So throughout my action plan, I built a relationship with an organization here in my community to conduct my event. And with this relationship I built for my school, I paved the way for further events like mine for the students and teachers that I leave behind. So thank you, and now I will pass it back to the reporters.
Thank you, Brianna, Kimsley, and Mr. Tran. So now that you've heard a little bit about Capital Prep and the Senior Social Justice Project, let's walk it back a little bit and talk about how did we get here, right? So the next two scholars that come up will be juniors from Capital Prep that are going to talk about their experiences taking the social justice class, even back to middle school, up into high school, up into where they're at right now. And hopefully this can be a all alternative, perspective to see how do we get our scholars to be where Brianna and Kimsley are at now. So next up, I'm going to ask that Aiden Henry come back and speak a little bit about social justice experiences at Capital Prep.
All right. So the Social Justice Project has given me many opportunities to be a student voice. After finishing middle school and first entering high school, I was introduced to social justice class. This class allowed students to investigate power and privilege in various populations and explore various examples of oppression. After learning about various social issues, we were assigned to make a social justice project. So I want to pause here for a second. Now remember, this was in my first year of high school. The 9th grade social justice project included support from teachers, such as graphic organizers. However, the senior social justice project is something that seniors make themselves. Seniors are given the opportunity to choose their own topic and raise awareness. To make this explanation simple, think of the 9th through 10th grade social justice projects as training wheels. When you're in 11th and 12th, the training wheels come off and you're ready to show the world your hard work. So in my starting years, I was given a list of many topics, and I chose how have women's rights movements affected women's career opportunities. Once we were finished with our exhibit, we were able to present it to many scholars to inform them about the social justice issue we addressed and why it was important. Now I'm in 11th grade and I'm working on my senior project early. My topic currently being, how is the school to prison pipeline a problem in the United States? Ready to change the world because we are at Capital Prep. All right, so now I'm going to pass this on to Autumn Candido.
Good afternoon. My name is Autumn Candido. Being introduced to social justice in the beginning of high school introduced how I have a voice and how I should use it. Last year is where I really got where I am. I have an interest in computer software engineering. Through coding summer camps and coding courses at Housatonic Community College, I knew I wanted to go to college for it and make a career out of it. But I also realized that computer science is really predominantly men, and I don't often see girls like myself in those classes. My school doesn't offer coding or STEM-like courses other than general studies such as chemistry and physics. In my 9th and 10th grade year in social justice class, I was encouraged to select a topic. I chose the lack of female engineers in the United States. I did a research paper and created a glass ceiling out of Legos to present to my school in a research symposium. Now I'm going into my 12th grade social justice project, as my topic being the lack of opportunity for girls in the exposure to STEM careers. There is a strong interest in variety of STEM careers, but there's not a lot of schools that offer these exposures. This situation applies to Capital Prep STEM curriculum. I plan on having guest speakers in my community to speak out on STEM related careers, followed by a coding workshop. And now I'd like to pass it to Mr. Borders.
Thank you, Autumn and Aiden. So as we come to a close, having our conversation around student voice and social justice, we must, talk about some of the limitations and challenges that we face. And, they're really not even challenges. This is the work that we choose to do every day. And they're more so lessons learned. And one of the greatest lessons I can say I learned from the Social Justice Project is that it's going to prepare you for life, and it's going to be something that you'll take with you wherever you go, and you might ultimately become a lifelong learner within your content area. And I can be a living testament of that. I am also an alumni of Capital Preparatory Magnet School in Hartford, which is one of our sister schools. And I actually completed a social justice project way long time ago when dinosaurs walked the earth. So I understand exactly how it is to be a young, kid or a teenager, and you have, the world in front of you, and then you have to take on something else and try to go out into the community and tackle a new challenge, something that you're passionate about. And hopefully this will drive our scholars to, ultimately change the world and become those agents of change, even if it's not in their content area that they're studying now, because they have that experience from doing it before. Along with some of the other limitations or challenges that we have, we can talk about assignment completion, right? There is still school, this is still a class, and we know that our scholars are never going to come to us, perfect. They're all works in progress. And so we have projected that at times this will be a long process of getting all our seniors across the finish line and getting the paper done and getting the action plan and all the meetings and hours that needed to be put into this to get it complete. So what we do is we get everyone involved. It's not just our illuminators, our advisors, and our scholars, but it's the families as well. There's a number of parent contact that goes out in preparation for the SJP project, in addition to parent meetings. And a lot of times you'll see at the scholars events and throughout the project that the parents are supporting, attending the events, and also making sure that their scholars are meeting deadlines. In addition to the family support, our school family, your advisory, which operates like our smaller family at Capital Prep, they also support the scholars in making sure that they get their projects done, from brainstorming, from reminders about due dates, from even at times being a part of the seniors population that they work with and that they teach, and they measure their success of their project happens right in their advisory home. In addition, we've done Saturday social justice office hours, which are always fun, waking up on Saturdays with the juniors and seniors to make sure they can have that extra support if needed, to ask any questions in a maybe one-to-one setting where they feel comfortable and can get those extra hours in. And then in addition, there is the final presentation where seniors will present in front of a panel of different advisors, illuminators, and community stakeholders. But we also have the winter panel presentation, which operates like a midpoint check-in where we can recalibrate and make sure that our seniors are going from winter break into the spring with a focus and know exactly what it is that they need to fix or tweak in order to have a successful project. In addition, motivation and time management is something that we've seen as well, because the project can be difficult, right? It is set up to be that way, to be rigorous, to be something that once you've accomplished, what can college really throw at you, right? Because I've already done this huge doctoral style research capstone. But we know that we have to motivate, have to, ring in the family and get everybody on the same page around this. So one of the things that we've tried this year has been doing town halls leading up until the senior year. So our juniors, they'll come down to the cafeteria with me and Mr. Tran, and we'll run it almost like a culture assembly where we're, prepping scholars about the project and just honestly at times having an honest conversation around what are going to be the things that are going to hold you back and how can we support you to get through those challenges. And then this is an area where I think that we've improved in the last couple of years. And I can say that I'm honestly proud to see, a senior like Brianna Walker have an outside organization come in and actually lead a class of self-defense techniques. But our community and stakeholder engagement has also been something that we have seen as a challenge, but we've also attacked it head on by making sure that we do things like the community fair, and we're working ourselves into the community to let it be known that we are here as a living testament of social justice and that we want to ultimately change this community that we belong to as well. So we do have a number of community organizations this year that have partnered with us and partnered with our seniors to act as consultants and offer a level of expertise that sometimes we might not have within the building. And so we have seen a number of people come in, or even sometimes our seniors leave out and go meet their consultants to make sure that they're getting that extra support they need in their content area for whatever it is that they might be studying in their senior year. Next slide, please. So we've said a lot, we've shared a lot, and I'm sure that you guys have plenty of questions, comments, and maybe some concerns as well. But we're welcome to all of those, and I do want to get into a question and answer period if we have the time and it permits us. But if there's something that is lingering, or you would like to reach out and even see this thing in action, and meet some of our scholars that are doing the social justice project, or even our juniors that are getting ready to begin that journey as well, please contact us. We are in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Our school phone number is on the screen, along with our principal, Dr. Ayanna Carter, myself, and Mr. Tran, the 11th and 12th grade social justice illuminator. All righty, next slide. From the bottom of our hearts, we put a lot of work into this, but we do really appreciate you guys being here today and having this conversation around student voice and how to leverage that in our commitment to social justice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dean Borders. If there are any pressing questions, you can feel free to put those in the chat, or you can unmute yourselves to ask those questions. You can also leave some comments if you enjoyed something that was shared with you today, or if it sparked something for you. I'm using my teacher wait time. So if there aren't any pressing questions, because I know it is a lot to digest, a lot of great things, we can certainly move towards closing. So I just want to thank each and every one of you for joining us today. And I also would like to thank Capital Prep Harbor for sharing this capstone project with us. This project is certainly a way to ensure the perspectives, experiences, and voices of every student is represented and sought out in the school community. We are thrilled that you all provided us with the opportunity to see how, just with one assignment, we can understand the power of leveraging student voice to spark change. Additionally, we appreciate your willingness to share actionable practices and lessons learned. Thank you again to all of our viewers for joining us today. We hope that you feel a little bit more inspired about leveraging student voice within your school community and perhaps heard some ideas to apply within your own context. We encourage you to reach out to the school with any follow-up questions to continue the conversation. We also invite other districts to reach out to the Turnaround Office Director, Lisa Lamenzo, or myself if you are interested in highlighting your community's practices with leveraging student voice. This presentation and a playlist will be located on our professional development learning page, and the link will be added to the chat. Thank you so much and be well.